Hey guys, hopefully everybody's doing good. I'm gonna get back to work on the car today. It's been a little bit since I've done any work to it. Been working on some other projects. But as you can hear, I don't know, maybe you can hear it, it's raining pretty heavy outside. So I've started working on putting new sheet metal in where I had cut out the spring perches at, and also got the spare hood that I had bought sandblasted. We'll go over that a little bit on what I'm doing. Still working on some ideas, but I'm gonna go ahead. I got a little cutting to do to sort of even out the other side to this one, because if you notice, I've sort of got it sloped a little bit, and that's so water will drain off the top of the hat that I'm building there. So we'll go over it and see what happens. So as you can see, I was building this up. I'm cutting it in 3 pieces just to make it a little bit easier to get these bends, because this is a compound bend on this. So if you notice, I've got this here, it's angled back, so any water that will not sit up here. It's angled back, and it's also sloped this way a little bit. I'm having to do the same thing here. Cut this line that will allow it to angle down and back, and then I'll cut my top piece, tack it in, cut my piece up to here, and then across there. But these are going pretty well. Like I said, I just gotta get all this tacked in, get some other stuff done, and then I'll weld up everything, come back and grind the welds down and make everything look nice. Alright, so I've got this tacked in. I'm gonna hit it in a few more spots just to solidify it for right now. I'll come back and fully weld it later when I do everything else. This will all be, like I said, fully welded, and then I'll blend all the welds in, make it look nice when I'm doing all my finished work. This by far, you know, it's not the prettiest now, but just like the rest of the body, whenever I come back and do my final grinds and final welds and stuff, everything will look a lot nicer. I'm just trying to get everything solidified as far as how everything is gonna be. And so with these two sides, and this side here is a little bit different than the other side, just by the way it was, the way the body shape is, because they're not exactly symmetrical on both sides anyway, so it'll all work out. Right now I'm just welding up 4 holes and stuff over here that I need to weld up. These right here were the headlight switch, the high beam, low beam switch is at. I'm still going to have that, but I'll probably relocate it or put, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Either way, you know, I'm going to set it up for myself. There's 3 holes. You know, I think you can see them. Lean you back here. There's 3 holes here. This is actually where the old, that's the emergency brake. Those 2 holes right there, these 2 went into these 2 holes here. I'm going to weld those up. I'm pretty sure this here was another brace for the dash. I'll go ahead and weld it up. So if I can avoid any holes in the firewall, that's what I'm aiming for. And what I'll do is if I need a hole or if I need to mount something from the firewall, I'll weld a stud from the inside. That way there will be no holes going through. And then I got a few holes here and there, and I got some cheese here I need to weld up. But we'll get to it. As far as emergency brake, I've got my new emergency brake cables. My new brakes came with emergency brake shoes for the rear. What I'll probably end up doing, I mean, to be completely honest, I really don't even need to use them, and it would simplify some things. But I've got them, and I might as well use them. I was thinking about using a low car handbrake handle. They make the cable for cable operated, and I will mount it somewhere other than up here on the firewall, maybe down by the driver's seat somewhere or another. So we'll go from there.
So I lost the audio here, but what I'm saying is these hinges, the hinges are sort of wore out, but what I did was I took the springs off of them because I'm wanting to use them sort of as a mock-up tool, but I took the springs off, and I'm also cutting off where the springs attach, because if I do end up using these, I'm going to use them with gas struts.
It's gonna sit funny because the hood latch isn't in place, which is what sets the height of everything. I might throw the hood latch on to get everything lined up correctly, just for the time being. Another reason why I was sort of wanting to maybe do away with this, it's kind of bent up. I've straightened it up a little bit. I can straighten it up more and re-weld everything. But you see what I'm saying though, this here sits way out front here. Along with the intercooler, I was planning on putting some support bars in between here and sort of strengthening up this front end. This right here is sort of in the way of everything I'm thinking about doing. I mean, you've got some room right here, but it's not really a lot. So there was my thought, was actually coming from here with a rod forward to right here as a support for the grill, and going between, I don't know what y'all can see, going between this right here. You see how flimsy that is? That right there is actually the front of the fender support, along with where your headlights go right here, and your grill is like right here. But I was planning on taking some tube and running a support from here across to this one over here. And in doing so, what that would allow me to do, I was also wanting to put some, I don't know, I'm still thinking on different thoughts, because, you know, I'm trying to, this car is not going to be original of any, you know, sense of means original, but I sort of like the 4 headlight look, and I'd like to keep the original headlights, but maybe have some additional lights right here that shine behind the grill. I'm sort of thinking, you know, sort of like a Mustang, you know, where you would have like the fog lights or the additional headlights. Sort of a thought. All right, that's that. And you see this right here is also part of the support rods, and this is just sheet metal screwed to this right here. It's not even like it's just basically there to help support. I'm not happy with the way that is, but and this right here should click right down. That's basically your safety latch. If you give it a little slam, then it catches the main latch. So this acts as both your main and your safety, but off of one lever. So your first click is your main, and then you have your safety. So there's the safety, and then you just got to give it a little extra, just a little bit extra oomph, and it trips the main. So it's really not that bad. That right there is actually set though. Let's and that set the back of the hood a little bit too. Let's bring it on down a little bit and see what it's looking like. We might throw the fenders on also. All right, so the back is a little high right now. The back is a little bit high, just a little bit. So there's a way of bringing that down with the hinges. And that's with taking the front bolts a little loose and racking up the front of the hinge just a hair bit, if I'm not mistaken, because the back can't go down any further. The only thing that can rack the back of it down any is by raising the front of the hinge. So I'm gonna do that very gently. That's pretty close right there. Both sides are up. Also, you'll have the hood bumps that will sort of help a little bit. Now I need to slide everything. I need to slide it forward an 1/8 of an inch. An 1/8 of an inch is all I need. That's about perfect right there. That's got some room in between it and the cow. There's also a cowl seal that gets screwed to the cowl down on the inside here that creates a seal in here. Like I said, there's still some more body work to do here, so. And these fenders can be a little bit of a booger to get on because the way it wraps around the rest of the car. I don't know what you can and can't see. So you've got 1, 2, 3 bolts right there, and then some more. It's got to wrap underneath that bracket right there. It's got to wrap around that, and then on top of that, whenever you're actually putting these on for real, there's a rubber seal here, a rubber seal there, and it's all got to get. You can put those on afterwards, but it's a little bit of a, well, you actually can't because there's I'll take it back. There's nuts and bolts that hold these on from factory. Aftermarket, if you needed to change those out, you could take them off, cut the nuts and bolts off, and use self tappers to hold it all on. I've seen one of them like that before that I took apart, where they had cut it. You could tell they had cut because you could see the grinder marks at every hole, but they went back with sheet metal screws and replaced those. But these fenders can be a little bit of a booger to throw on because everything has to go on in a particular way, and your headlight bracket has to be lined up just right. So I've got the bolts that hold these fenders on, and I've sandblasted them all. Anyways, this bolt, like I said, it's got like an Acme thread. It comes through from inside the car, through this hole, comes through here. You get your fender raised up in the correct position and tighten her up. All right, fender is tightened up from in there. You see her here, this is what I'm saying. This is the hole for the antenna. Those are gonna get welded shut. The seam line there is good. You've got those 4 bolts across the top. I've got 4 more bolts here, 2 small ones, 2 large ones. I'm pretty sure the 2 large ones attach that might be the small ones. Let me see. All right, then you got the 2 other smaller. These are the larger of the smaller bolts that hold that together. And I'm pretty sure I got them in another package. But then you have some more thread clips that fit on this right here, and then there's screws that fit there. And then you have at the back of the fender where it wraps underneath the car, there is a captured nut. This one right here was the side that was completely rusted out. The nut was gone. So I've got to create that. I think I got to create it on the other side too. So I'll end up doing something with that, making that work. But you can see now sort of what it's looking like. You have a really wide area for tire and suspension. This is what I was saying. No, I'm probably using that a newer model vehicle inner fender liner to close this off, and that'll save a lot of the issues with the rust on the body. So we're gonna go ahead and get the driver's side fender on. I've got the bolts sandblasted, as you saw. Down and see what we're going to look like. Exactly what I thought. Okay, so a while ago whenever I was adjusting this fender right here, I noticed I'm hitting, let me see what y'all are seeing. Let me see if y'all can see me. Yeah, kind of. So when I was adjusting this fender a while ago, I noticed my hood was catching here. Got a good gap over here, and I'm good back here. This hood actually needs to be shifted that way, which I can do with the hinge, just shifting the whole hood. So let me get this back up for a second. I'm going to go ahead and set my hood, or my fender, where it's at pretty much. Gap here is decent. I'm gonna go ahead and set it. Oh, that's it. 7/16. So set my gap on my fender here. All right, I got the back one tight. I don't want to tighten the rest of them yet until I get this hood readjusted. So I need my 1/2 inch there. Nope, that's the 9/16. Where's my half? Got a 1/2 inch wrench here somewhere. There it is. 9/16 wrench per socket. So this side needs to be shifted back a hair. I'm gonna go about right there. I'm gonna tighten this front one down, check it, and then come back if I have to. Oh, that's better. I still gotta come this way, or can this fender, this fender can tighten up. Okay, because let's see here, my cowl gap looks good. This fender can go in. This fender is a little tight still. Actually, we just want to, oop, you know what I just did? I moved the whole car on the lift. So I don't know. I think this is where those bumpers come in. So there's bumpers that go. So here's the thing. The front of the hood is pretty much even with the tips of the fenders. The back can go up just a hair bit, but where these fender wells are at is really high. This hood needs a lot. It's fairly good, but you can tell there's dips in it. Man alive. Because I'm a 1/4 inch right here, a 1/4 inch over here. But I want to say it's almost like the hood is flattened out. It's lost some of its bend, which would make sense because it's got, this hood has got, where it's supposed to be rounded, it's concave right here and like right here, like it's like almost like somebody done a hood slide across it, you know, like the Duke boys. I've got 2 concaves right here. Other than that though, the back looks decent. The front right here, you get those in. Also, another issue is with the whole springs on these hood hinges. You put a lot of force. I don't know if anybody's ever seen a vehicle where somebody's like tried to throw open a hood on these older cars. You can fold a hood just because of the way the springs and the hinges work. This might be because the fenders can't go down any further. The fenders are where the fenders are. The hood, on the other hand, I can work with. And the fenders, the way the fenders sit on the hood, look pretty much even as far as side to side. It's just the hood, just something's wrong with it. That's no big deal though. No big deal. All right, let me get this fender over here tightened up. I need to come in about 1/4 of an inch. All right, I'm gonna throw these on real quick. Like I said, these are the brackets, brace brackets that go on here. I don't know if I'll reuse these because there is a company that makes a billet aluminum version. That's not just a, they look nicer than these, but they're billet aluminum. They're almost like a, where these right here are probably 9.5 inch to 9/16 round tube. The ones that are billet aluminum, they look like they're maybe 1.5 inches or so by a 1/2 inch, 9/16 thick, like a billet plate that has been like milled out really nicely. It has a real nice design to it. Just, you know, it's one of them things where it's like, I can do that, it'll look really nice. So this goes underneath there like that. This goes over here. And this is another one of them things where it's just, they were doing some things to stiffen up the frames. I mean, it's a little bit. It's not a lot. It'll help. I also have a nice radiator that I just bought. We'll test fit it. It's an aftermarket radiator. It's supposed to fit this car. It has a shroud, aluminum shroud, and 2 electric fans on it, which is one of the things I was wanting for this car. I was not wanting, you know, not wanting to run a front fan on the motor. I will have to take these loose here in a minute to try out that radiator, but we will try it out. So there's a couple spots here. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be some rubber bumpers there. It's supposed to be the bumper here, and then also right here. Both these are broke. So we'll have to, I'm gonna have to, that's got a, it's almost like a rib nut in itself, but it was one of those like tabbed ones that get like spot welded in from the factory, I guess. I'll just get those ripped out. I'll re-rib nut there, do some bumpers, or like I said, the hood latches, add some extra bumpers here along with the hood latches. We will see. The hood latch I will want to go through. There's some more solid pieces, both pieces of the metal of the hood, so that might be where I send that at. I'm gonna go ahead and take these right here all the way loose on the fronts. Loosen them up here on the side. Sort of rotate them out of the way. Some of the welding I've already done is going to have an effect on the way these body panels sit. It's nothing drastic, but I want to make sure everything's lining up right. It looks like everything kind of is. I'm not expecting everything to be perfect on this because, like I said, I believe this car at some point has taken some, maybe not a massive front-end collision, but a little bit of one, just from some of the things that I saw as I was tearing it apart. The radiator, I wanted to check, make sure it's going to fit right quick before I can get the motor mounts in and try the motor in, because knowing where that radiator is going to sit how far the fans are sitting in will also determine on whether or not it will work for the motor that I'm putting in it. So let me grab the radiator real quick. It's actually really nice. It's inexpensive off of Amazon, but it is a I guess you would say a name brand, but it's not like one of the higher name brands. But it is marked as for a AMC. For the Javelin, it's got this nice shroud on it with the fans, the inlet and outlet, the oil cooler or transmission cooler like the Javelin. I doubt I will use this for the transmission for this because this is that 6-speed LS. It will probably have its own transmission oil cooler that I may put out front of the radiator. I don't think this will have enough volume to cool that transmission. So out front of the radiator, out front of the AC, and probably, you know, right in front of that, I will have the transmission cooler, intercooler for the turbo or the supercharger, whatever. I do know that I'm going to take these 4 holes right here. These are probably the mounts that'll mount to this. Let me get this right here off because this needs to bolt through there. There's captured nuts in all 4 spots here, and that's where I need to attach. So let me get that situated. Alright, well, I forgot to press record. Right there is the radiator set in place. With the radiator cut. This right here, from what I'm guessing, I see staples here, which means there's probably a piece of fabric that was stapled to this. From what I can tell, that all this really does is just keep the flow of air directed through the radiator so it doesn't come over it. That's pretty much all this piece of metal does. I've got some repair to do on it. It's all bent and wavy. So is this front piece right here a little bit. But it's sitting in there nice. That's saying the factory bolts that have got that bolted up, it looks like it's meant to fit in there. So from Amazon for $250 for that whole kit, plus the relay for the fans, all the wiring. I mean, you really can't beat that. For a welded aluminum radiator. Now if it holds up, that's the other thing. I think this is a 3-core. They also offer a 4-core that's like $350. I just really wanted something for mock-up. This here, I would suspect this here could probably handle what that LS will put out as far as heat goes. And there, this again, I need to figure out my routing for that LS. So I got to look at the LS as far as which way the water flows and which way this right here we need to route it. Other than that, you know, it's no big deal. Catch can wise, I'll probably put a catch can over here or somewhere. This is what I have left over from my AC condenser that was on this car. Now, as you can see, the way it's set up, all the fins, but you can see the standoffs right there, 2 over there. It's got 2 bolts right there. So all of that. There's one hole there, there's two holes there, one down there and one up here, and this is supposed to sit, well, I don't even know if I can get it to go in with that front support in right now, but this would sit on this side of the radiator. This here is all steel frame with all this tubing for the condenser ran through it. More than likely what I'm going to end up doing is getting a generic size, the same size as this from Vintage Air, and I'll probably end up having to make brackets to make it work, which is not that big of an issue. There's also this radiator. This radiator also has that aluminum rib right here. That might work for a mounting point. If not, then I'll go back to the original places where everything mounted at. Whenever I end up ordering my parts from Vintage Air to get that in, once I get the motor in place and all that, we can get that in so we can mock all that up. That's the main thing of this whole situation right now, is getting everything that was not on the car in the car so I know it'll fit, and then we can go from that point forward getting the car ready to bodywork and paint. Anyways, I think we're going to call it there for now. It's been a long day. I've only had one day to really work on this, but that's okay. I think I've gotten a good bit done. You know, those panels put in, the hinges cut, the hood, fenders on, the radiator put in place. Just trying to figure out where things are going to sit. Let me get a side shot here. This thing is looking sweet.
Thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate everyone. Channel is doing really great, but just want to thank everyone for hanging in there with me as I get stuff done on the car. Have a good one.